I know a liquor store that does great barrel picks and did one recently. Greetings, my name is Brian. Welcome to KillCo Whiskey Musings. Today I have for you a so nice Litchfield Distillery. I haven't tried this, I want to say ever, but knowing Irene Tan's store, I may have had it once or twice because she just likes to put all the whiskey in your glass when you're there. This is one of her blends, and this is called At Last. I don't remember the whole story, and I don't want to bother texting her this hour. But I do know this is American single malt. And you know it's an Irene pick when it's at 58.5%. This bottle was donated to the channel by Zenbu. Zenbu, yours. We have another distillery that's decided that putting difficult wax on top is a good idea. It's not a bad idea. Please don't shrapnel. I have had wax that has shrapnel on me. I do not like it. Only a little. There we go. This is a Connecticut distillery. If I didn't say at the start, and I very likely didn't, and I've actually never been there. I could go there. I am just a Rhode Islander, and sometimes just driving more than an hour away is just too much to think about. My problem is I'm not good for like day trips, so you know, if it's 2 hours away, that means 2 hours there and 2 hours back. As someone who doesn't particularly like driving 1 hour, I would inevitably have to stay at a hotel and maybe make a weekend of it. Actually, no, I tried to do it in the middle of the week. Too many people. What's my point? Oh yeah, I'll go there someday. I just don't know when. Because money. Nice little bottles. It's a little weird to try to hold. Seriously, no, I don't know how to hold this right now. The neck is too short. The rest of the bottle is too big. It feels increasingly sketch. There we go. That one's wet. We begin with the color. Oh my gosh, look at it. Look at it. It's not bourbon colored. It's kind of that amber color, which is nice, but it's also a little surprising considering the climate. It does seem to have a different kind of clarity. It's more yellow and gold than it is red or ruby. It's much nicer. But it fits right in with American category or the bourbon category itself. You pour this for someone in America, they will assume it's bourbon at a glance. Let's find out what the nose says, shall we? Ooh, hello. That is very sweet. Yeah, it's a malt sweetness. Ooh. What was that? I'm getting very heavy vanilla from this. And there was something that just jumped out of the glass there. Make me think of brownies, brown sugar. I'm trying to get my head away from the fact that it's not a bourbon. I know it isn't, but it's leaning into those aromas. It almost makes me think it's a corn whiskey. Oh, okay. I figured it out. It's reminiscent, from my experiences, it's making me think of Andalusia, which is another single malt distillery. That one's in Texas, so this one's much milder, which is why it was so confusing. Yeah, I don't know if they do triple distill. I will assume they don't. I'm also going to look at the bottle and find out. I glanced at the back, and I almost came across their tasting notes, but two things they did say that were important is, one, this is 3 years old, which gives it a nice color. Two, they use Connecticut malt, or barley, I should say. You know what I mean? And I always like that. I always love the idea of distilleries using the grains at the minimum from the state. It doesn't have to be, you know, down the road, but at least making it a state by state, or I think in the long term, there are going to be regions of America that have a similar profile. Yeah, this one's coming off real sweet. Sugar cookie vibe. Well, more like shortbread, honestly. Like the hard cookie. When I think of sugar cookie, I think of something a little softer with sugar sprinkled across it. When I think of shortbread, weirdly enough, I think of those Girl Scout cookies. I think they're called something else. But, you know, the hard type. I don't particularly like those, unless you have them with tea. I wonder. I feel like I'm getting a distinct grain note. So as if I was near a grain silo, or if the grain was being milled. That might also mean something about the age. It's got a nice nose. It's very pleasant. And it is distinctly different from a bourbon. Also good. But what I'm thinking in my head is the age. In the New England climate, I feel something like this would need to be aged more than 3 years. I know in Texas, very hot, takes less time. Got to be careful with that. New England, though, has a similar, vaguely similar climate to Scotland. Granted, I've never been to Scotland or Ireland or Britain or anything over there. I've never been over to where all that wonderful whiskey is made. But I feel just a simple thought about this part of the United States has distinct 4 seasons. There's a spring, there's a summer, there's an autumn, there's a winter. And you know it. So that in itself would bring some interesting characteristics to any whiskey aged in this area. I'm like psyching myself out. Okay. Yeah. This grain note is also sliding into that green note I've talked about. Just under the surface of this. It's not jumping out at me. It's taking me this long to actually figure it out. But I always take it as a warning. Enough messing around in the nose. Let's go on to the palate. Guess who forgot what the proof was? Hello. Oh, oof. Oh. Oh. There were a lot of things that happened there, and they all went like that, but they're all good. I actually have a video from many years ago. I will link it up there, and that was my earliest encounter with Litchfield. It does linger. I've got it's almost a raisin note lingering on the finish. That's not dry or anything. All right, next we hold on the palate and see what we can derive from that. Peppery. Clove. Oh, I got tobacco for a second there. Yeah. Like tobacco, leather. It's a little dry. It fluctuates though. It's not just, one thing or another. It seems like it's a bunch of baking spices, cinnamon, nutmeg, and then there was a slight citrus. I always lean towards orange, but could have been lemon. And then it got that leathery tobacco-iness with a little dry. And then it started over again, which is wild. So it makes it a little bit of a wild ride where it happens once and then it happens again and then it fades away. Fairly quickly, too. Doesn't stick around. One more. Just for good luck. Don't let me forget that mouthfeel. That's lovely. Velvety. Yeah. Spice. Slight citrus. Slight citrus. A little prickly. The leathery tobacco notes kind of fizzled out now. I'm not getting it as much in the palate. Oh, wait, there it is. Starting to get dry. And then I got spicy again. Now it's fading away. It doesn't drink like the proof either, which makes it somewhat dangerous. It is a little sweet, but it's more spice than sweetness. Like I took a sip and that didn't really cross my mind. It's like, oh, that's super sweet. It's not like, spicy and dry and all these other notes that I don't always get off of. I certainly don't get from bourbons, and I have gotten them a few times off of malt. Scotch, I'm thinking of in particular. You get all kinds of wild stuff with Scotch. And there are some bourbons that I've had that have had either tobacco or leather, but they're usually not my thing. They're usually not sweet enough. This one I'm not getting sweetness from particularly, but I'm going to go back just to find out if there is a certain sweetness that I'm just missing entirely. Oof. Spicy right away. Yeah. There's like a little bit of, well, I'm going to call it malt sweetness. Oh, I held that on my tongue too long. It's like a sweet cereal. That's what it is, and it's very faint. This comes at you very aggressively as far as spices go, especially when you hold it on your tongue too long, when you forget that it's super high proof. But it is really tasty. I actually do like this. I feel like I might be pouring more of this later on the rocks, because I'd like to see how it would stand up against a big old chunk of ice, or possibly a few drops of water. Either way, Irene Tan's doing her thing, and I will always enjoy as many bottles as I can of hers, especially when they are just given to me. That's always nice. There you have it, folks. As always, live long and prosper. Don't forget to be awesome, and I will see you out there. Thank you for joining me on KillCo Whiskey Musings. You can find my social media and Patreon in the links below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.